Grown Ups from 2010 is an Adam Sandler movie starring Adam Sandler, made by Adam Sandler's friends, and starring Adam Sandler's friends. So if you don't like Adam Sandler, this movie is not for you at all. Even if you do like the former Saturday Night Live star, this one it's a little harder to like than most of his films. Well, okay, it's not as bad as his most recent string of films like The Cobbler and Sandy Wexler. This was around the time that Sandler's films were, well, to me at least, when Sandler's films were starting to lose quality. I mean, he did Click, which I enjoyed a lot, and Chuck and Larry. Well, now I pronounce it Chuck and Larry, which is kind of a guilty pleasure. But then afterwards, he just kind of started getting worse and worse by the film. I guess you could say by the film. But Grown Ups is one that really tries its best to keep its head above water, but it doesn't quite do the job. Like there are numerous funny scenes in this. Well, I shouldn't say numerous. There's a couple of funny scenes that actually are really good. I'll go in depth on one particularly great scene in this whole film. Now, when I say great, I mean this scene is great. Okay. Okay. So the movie is about Adam Sandler and his pals, and they reunite after how many years of being apart to go to a funeral of their favorite basketball coach from junior high. And at the funeral, Rob Schneider's character is singing Ave Maria in what's a surprisingly really funny, well, not funny, I mean, in a surprisingly really well done, almost operatic voice. Now, here's what's so funny about it, okay? Rob Schneider, even if you don't look at his silly character, you have Rob Schneider doing a good job singing opera. That's pretty funny. The other good thing in that scene is Rob Schneider's funny character doing a good job singing Ave Maria. And also, you got this funny character dancing around because he's so deep in the moment and making all these funny faces because he's grieving the loss of his coach, so he's trying to hold back tears, and he makes some funny faces in it. And the last thing that makes that scene so funny is Adam Sandler and Chris Rock are sitting in their pews, and they have a $5 bet go on. Sandler says, "I bet you $5." He goes down to one knee, and then Chris Rock says, "Okay, you're on." Of course, uh, Rob Schneider does end up going down on one knee, and Chris Rock just gives Sandler the $5. And then you have David Spade make a horn at the end. That's really the only hilarious scene in the whole movie, but it's so funny. That scene's got to be timeless and iconic. Now, yeah, that scene alone and me dissecting that scene. Okay, I just told you really what the whole premise of the movie is about. Well, not the whole premise of the movie, but when one scene can be dissected that much into why it's so good, as opposed to the rest of the movie, you know that scene really has a lot of stuff going for it. So yeah, what's the rest of the movie about? After they reunite, they take their families and they go to this huge cottage, and yeah, the guys they just have fun together like they used to back when they were kids. They realize, they're a bunch of kids at heart, and yeah, the theme of the film being kid at heart is a pretty good idea. But the thing that isn't really, I'd say one of the main drawbacks of the film is that, okay, so these guys reunite to just have fun like they used to. That's not really much of a storyline to it. It's pretty weak, if you ask me. The movie tries to have a logical closing point where Sandler and his friends, they have a basketball game against Colin Quinn, who's also from Saturday Night Live. Colin Quinn and his friends. So there's a basketball game that happens, and they try and make that logical conclusion point. But yeah, the movie doesn't really. It has a very weak storyline to it, and quite often when Sandler and his friends are horsing around, it's not really that funny because they're like middle-aged men and they're just goofing off. And yeah, there's quite a few elements of bad acting to it. For example, Adam Sandler's daughter in this, she's a really bad actress. But yeah, there's a couple of cutesy scenes in this, and there's that one funny scene with Rob Schneider singing Ave Maria that ultimately are able to put its head almost above water, as I said earlier. I would say that this movie, had it been directed by someone else aside from Adam Sandler and and the rest of his colleagues, and directed by someone other than Dennis Dugan, who's done quite a few Adam Sandler films, this movie actually would have been quite good, I would say. I've been, See, Grown Ups is a film that I've always been on the fence with, but I've always leaned more towards the negative side. And because of that, I'm going to give the film 2.5 stars out of 4.